The NFL Draft is finally here. After months of anticipation, rumor, and speculation, the draft is kicking off tonight at 7 p.m. on the NFL Network. 3 former LSU standouts are at the top of the heap. Former LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels should absolutely be the number 2 overall pick and is expected to land with the Washington Commanders, but we'll have to wait and see. Wide receivers Malik Nabers and Brian Thomas Jr. are not far behind. For some discussion on the draft, we're bringing on longtime draft analyst Mike Detillier, who sat down with Tiger Rag radio host Jeff Palermo to provide insight into what we can expect tonight. We'll have a quick word from our sponsor, but stay with us. Mike has a little surprise I'm sure you'll want to hear. I'm your host, Jake McMains, and we'll be right back after this.
May is here, and with it comes adventure from your friends at the East Baton Rouge Parish Library. Enjoy your summer with the 2024 Summer Reading Program. Besides reading fun, check out free programs for all ages at your library. Go to ebrpl.com/summerreading. That's ebrpl.com/summerreading. Your EBR Parish Library is where summer fun begins.
And we're back with Tiger Rag Radio.
Joining us now from WWL Radio, it's Mike Detillier. Of course, Mike knows the NFL Draft and its inner workings better than anyone, and he's here to talk a little bit about what we're going to potentially see on Thursday night, first round of the NFL Draft, as the three Tigers should be going in the first round. Mike, thanks a lot for joining us. We appreciate it. I guess let's start off with Jaden Daniels, number 2 pick over Drake May, and why?
Man, when I look at Jayden, I think he processes information so quickly for secondary, third targets downfield. He has gotten so much better throwing the deep pass. And I think the most important thing with him, he doesn't take a lot of sacks. I think that nothing drives a coach crazier than have a quarterback who takes sacks. And I watch sometime with Drake May, he'll take some unnecessary sacks. That's not the case with Jayden Daniels. But, and he's a unique guy because of his ability to make something happen with his feet and his running skills, to improv too, to create plays and also to make plays, with his speed. You think you got an angle on him, and he outruns the angle as a runner. So this is the reason why, to me, he's the clear-cut number 2 guy in this draft class. And if I were the Commanders, it would be an easy decision for me that he goes with the number 2 position.
Brian Kelly joked about it after LSU's Pro Day. One of the main questions they get about him is he going to slide or not? What do you see from him as far as his longevity in the NFL? I know some of this could be, freak stuff happens in the league, but is this a guy that can hold up in the NFL for the next 10 to 12 years?
I'm not that worried about his frame. I am worried sometimes about his aggressive nature running the football. And I agree with you, man. His ability, we get what you can, run out of bounds or to slide, because they're going to try to take your head off in the NFL. I don't care how good you are as a runner. You're not going to outrun these guys like you were doing in college football. And so I just hope he can stay healthy. And the one thing, too, you got to give him, Jeff, he's one tough guy. You think about some of the shots he's taken in the pocket and outside the pocket. He's a tough guy out on that football field. So, it's hard to predict longevity in the NFL or in sports. But there's one thing you better learn how to do, and that's to slide or to get out of bounds. One of the two, because this isn't college football.
It's your time to move things forward. U.S. Army Reserve.
Talking with Mike Detillier from WWL Radio, draft analyst. Mike, let's talk about Malik Nabers. What makes this draft so fascinating is you got all these great wide receivers. You got several quarterbacks that can go in the top 10. So it's really interesting how it's all going to stack up. Where do you see Malik potentially going on Thursday night?
Well, the Giants got a penchant for LSU wide receivers. I wouldn't be surprised New York is the landing spot for him. Certainly the Titans or another team that, even though they may go offensive tackle, if Malik is there, you got to give that a lot of consideration. They don't have a lot of playmakers out on the field. You know, Malik, I'm not great about comparing one player to another, but I think physically, if you looked at him and you had them side by side, Jamar Chase and Malik Nabers, they're built the same, the same size, same foot speed, same ability to make plays happen out on the field. There's a lot of similarities between Jamar Chase and Malik Nabers. The fact that he can play all three wide receiver positions, X, Y position, Z position, is a big plus. His run after catch skills. He saw a lot of bracket coverage at LSU and beat it. He's not afraid to go over the middle. He's built really just like Jamar is, built more like a running back than a receiver. And, man, he's got some make-you-miss skills out into the open field. I think he's a top 8 player in this draft class, and he'll be the second wide receiver selected after Marvin Harrison Jr.
Brian Thomas Jr., is he the 4th or 5th wide receiver taken in this draft?
I think he's the 4th. I think Roma Dunze from Washington becomes the 3 guy, and I think all 3 receivers, I think Harrison, along with Malik and Rome, all go within the top 10 or 11. Brian Thomas is a guy I think some teams will covet in the teens, and I wouldn't be surprised you see a team move up to try to trade for him. Outstanding size, length. I think he became much more comfortable catching the football out front with his hands last year. We saw glimpses of it in the early years with Brian, and a lot of times it was a drop or he was looking downfield and try to run with it before the catch. You saw a much more secure Brian Thomas Jr. last year. The one thing he's going to have to work on now, he's a bit of a football puppy, because remember, he didn't start playing football until he was in the 11th grade. He was a basketball player, track athlete before then. Is his ability to come off press coverage, using his arms and hands to get off of a hard press. That he'll have to work on, but that size, that foot speed, he's 2-step fast. He takes that second step, all of a sudden he's fast. And he runs down that chalk. He scares you because of that size and that length. Big play athlete guy. I think he goes anywhere from 11 through 17, 18 in round 1. Now, that's a big jump from the Brian Thomas Jr. a year ago at this time. Now, I don't think anybody would have thought he'd have went that high, and yet he's put himself in this position as the number 4 receiver in this draft class.
So 3 LSU Tigers taken in the first round. When do we hear an LSU player called again, and who?
I think late in round 2, people will pick him. There aren't a lot of 6'5", 300-pound defensive linemen who are athletic like Mason Smith. And he's had a wild ride at LSU in that as a freshman, he looked to be, he could have been a star player. He was a freshman All-SEC player, a freshman All-American. Really looked good, didn't get hurt. You know, when he doesn't play no more than 3 or 4 plays as a sophomore. Last year, he was really disappointing as a player. Coming off the knee injury, I thought he was slow getting off the snap. He was getting washed out on running plays where he was coming off the snap too high, and teams were getting under his pads and moving him around. I thought he flashed it as a pass rusher, which is really good. He's got some pass rush skills, And I've seen Mason since he was in the 10th grade at Terrebonne High School. He played his high school football right down the road from me. But there aren't a lot of guys with that type of athletic skills. So you're picking him off potential much more than production of a year ago. He didn't have a lot of it, but he's one heck of an athlete, and he's not ready for prime time now. But I think, if he's with the right team, right mentorship, right coaching, I think he's got a chance to be a good player in this league. Don't be surprised to see Mason Smith's name off the board by the end of round 2. The production guy's Mekhi Wingo. I think he comes a little bit later, probably in round 3. I'm a big Mekhi Wingo fan. He's barely 6 foot tall. You talk about a playmaker, great technician, productive, plays the run well, also a really good interior pass rusher. So it's the yin and the yang here, where Mason's the potential guy, or was the potential guy at LSU. Wingo was the production guy.
Should be interesting to see how it all shakes out. Thanks a lot for your time tonight, Mike.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jeff.
I think that most people that contact the 9-day Lifeline are looking to be heard and to feel seen.
Anybody that calls here to talk about anything that has them upset, we will talk to them.
Even on our chat and text services, you will be actually chatting and texting with a real person.
We have enough resources to be able to help people in any type of situation.
We have helpline specialists that are trained to handle the variety of calls that we get.
It's a very laid-back thing. We're not judging anybody. We're just a listening ear that some people don't have.
Well, that'll be it for today's show. I'd like to thank Mike and Jeff for coming on. Again, the NFL Draft begins tonight at 7 p.m. on the NFL Network, and I, for one, can't wait to see how things turn out. Be sure to check with TigerRag.com for updates on the draft and all things LSU sports. Thanks for tuning in to the Audibles podcast, and we'll be back with you real soon.